Alright, so today we're going to be looking at LMMS, which stands for Linux Multimedia Studio. And this is basically a way to make music for free on your computer. And if you're like me, you love to be creative, and making music is a fun way to kind of get your brain to be creative. And it's a different way of thinking, which I love. And as far as beat sequencing goes, it's right up there with Ableton Live and Logic and GarageBand. Of course, it's lacking a lot, but what can you ask for a free program? It's open source and it's cross-platform, so you can get it on Mac, PC, and Linux. And like I said, it's great, and it's known as a digital audio workstation. You can produce music with your computer by creating melodies and beats, synthesizing and mixing sounds, arranging samples, and more. You can use a MIDI keyboard to play back instrument samples and plugins, and it's bundled with a bunch of ready-to-use instrument and effect plugins, presets and samples, and of course VST and sound font support. And when you open up the program, this is what you're going to be presented with, which is a series of windows. You have your song editor, beat and bassline editor, FX mixer, and controller rack. And you also have a series of sidebar buttons that we're going to go through. So right off the bat, what I want to show you how to do is to make a basic beat. And you're going to do that with the beat and bassline editor. And you can see it's this window here. I can make it big if I wanted to by hitting the maximize button there, but I'm going to keep it small. And you can see right here there's a line of squares here, okay? And this is 16 squares for each 16th note of this beat line. Alright, so just to show you what that means in case you're not familiar with music making, what I'm going to do is just click on the first box here. Okay, so this is the first box of 16. And when I hit play, it's going to start looping through these 16 boxes over and over again. So I'm going to hit play, and you can hear it. It hits it every 16th note of this 140 beat tempo up here. Okay, I can speed it up by cranking up the tempo by just clicking and dragging on this tempo button up here. Here it goes a little faster. But one of my favorite tempos for making catchy beats is in the high 90s. So I'm going to go 97 right here. And I'm going to add some more notes to this sequence right here. So I'm going to click in the first box of each quarter of this beat. So what I want to do is add some more instruments, and what I'm going to do is click over here to My Samples. It's the one with the little musical note, and I'm going to hit the drop down on the drums, and what I want to do is add a snare sound. So I have all these different snares to choose from. Let's go with snare 01. So what I'm going to do is I can either double click it or I can just drag it right to the beat here. Okay, and you see I have a new line now, a new track on this beat. So just a real simple beat. I'm going to go in the second quarter, add a 16th, and the fourth quarter, add a beat. Okay, so you have a very simple beat here. Okay, just to complete the drum set here, let's go ahead and add a hi-hat. So in this same side panel here, I'm going to just drag in, let's see, I'll go with hi-hat closed 4. Drag that in, and I'm just going to add every other box here. Okay, so you have a very simple beat here. What I'm going to do is change up the kick a little bit just to give it some a catchy rhythm. This is a very basic, standard rhythm, but I'm just showing you how this program works. So, and you notice each time a note is played on any of these tracks, it lights up green. And it's going to come in handy when we are hooking up an external instrument to the program, because every time you push a note, it's going to light up green, so you know if you have a connection or not. Alright, let me go ahead and stop this. Okay, and what if I wanted to add an instrument to this drum rack here, to these drum sounds? What I can do is I'm going to minimize the drum sound here, and I can click on Instruments, and look, here's a harpsichord. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to drag in the harpsichord. Okay, so now this is going to behave just a little bit differently than the drums, or at least the way I use it here. So what I'm going to do is double click on the first note here, and what this is going to open is the piano roll. Okay, so the piano roll is basically a way of sequencing musical sounds and playing with the different notes. So maybe I'll have the beat rolling in the background. So I'm going to start the beat by clicking on the play button here. Looks like a note has already been inserted into the harpsichord window here. So let me just find where that note is. You can see it's right here on the right below C5. So what I'm going to do to delete a note, you can just right click on it. Okay, so I don't want any notes. But if I want to add a note, all I have to do is just click, and I'm going to stay in the first couple sections here. See, up here it says 1 and 2, and I'm just going to make a basic musical sound. So just like the beat before, how the kicker was repeating every time, this is doing the same thing, just repeating this first section right here over and over again. So if I add another note, sounds of that, so I'm going to change that. That's good. I'm going to right click to delete and click to set. So I'm just going to add another note right here and show you a little bit. Yeah, so it's very simple. If I wanted to double the length of the beat, what I can do is I'll just drag this over to the second section. And it's still looping, but you notice the drums only are only playing for the first section of the beat there. So let me go ahead and let me first and what I'm going to do is back in the Bassline editor window, I'm going to hit the little add steps button here, and I'm just going to basically recreate the beat here. That way the beat is double the length, and there's more efficient ways of doing this, I know, but I'm just doing this to show you guys how it works. Now the beat goes the whole way, and I can also change the beat at the end. Yeah. And you notice in the harpsichord track here, it looks a little bit different. A bar instead of the little boxes. And so if I want to edit these notes, I can just double click on that bar and have all these notes here. I'll move this a little bit. Now if I want to change the length of the note, what I can do is just hover my mouse over on the side of the note, just so it turns into a sideways arrow, and then I can drag, just like that. That second note here, change it. I wonder if they would all sound better if I shorten them. So what I'm going to do is click up here on the select mode, which is that dotted square, and I'm going to draw a box over the 2 here, hold shift and draw a box over the third one. And then I will switch back to the draw mode, which is pencil, and do the same thing as before, just drag the 2 over. Yeah, I think it's just a little bit catchier. So there's a basic beat. Now, you can consider this whole section right here in this beat plus bassline editor as a sequence, okay? And one sequence represents one of the boxes over here in the song editor. So this beat that we're listening to right now, I'm going to stop it. If I add that over here in the beat bassline, if I just click over here, it's actually, I take that back, it's not 1 square, it represents 2 squares. It depends on how long it is. And so I'll make the song editor big here by maximizing it. Since I have a square filled in over here, what it's going to be is that beat sequence that we just created. So if I hit play over here, this is going to be your overall song. So it's just going to play through the beat we just made, and it's going to stop when it's over, unless I add another one. So I can add a bunch of those in a row. But what's interesting is that you can make different beats and then arrange them over here in the song editor. So you can think of the beat and bassline editor as a way of making sequences, and the song editor as a way of arranging those sequences. So let's just go ahead and make a new beat. So what I'm going to do is stop this, and I'm going to add a new beat bassline by clicking on this add beat/bassline button here. And it gives me the same instruments as before, but this time I'll make it a little bit different. Make it a little bit quicker here, or a little bit more notes, more kicks. Let's see what I can do here. I'm just playing around with it at this point. This could be like a bridge or something. Very like military sounding, but kind of like the sound of it. So this is a whole other bass line. This is a whole other beat sequence here. So when I want to insert this one, what I can do is just click over here, and you notice it only takes two. Or sorry, it only takes one box now. What I'm going to do is right click and delete the other one that we added before, and move it over. So let me stop the beat bassline editor, and let's go hit the song editor, and it should, if all goes well, play the first sequence we made, then play quickly the second sequence we made, and then finally the first sequence again. So let's go ahead and hit play. And I just realized we didn't put any harpsichord in the second sequence there, so let's go ahead and add some harpsichord notes. So what I'm going to do is open up the harpsichord track here in the piano roll, but this time I'm not going to double click to open the piano roll, because if you remember last time, when you double click it adds a note automatically that you didn't want necessarily. So what I'm going to do instead is right click on the track and then click on open in piano roll. Okay, and I'm going to start up the beat again, so I'm going to hit play. And remember, this is our second sequence. And let's see, I just need basically a bridge section to bridge the first section with itself, essentially. Let's see. We were down here. Alright, something like this. So let's go. Very intense. Okay, so let's see how this sounds. So I'm gonna stop this, and now when I go back to the song editor, it should already have this all updated because I changed the sequence itself, which is represented with this box here. So let's go ahead and hit play. It's a very random beat, and I'm not sure I agree with the sound that I chose there, but I can always change that by, I'll just close this window so you can see, by clicking on the beat sequence that you want to change, and just, you can double click here and change it. Actually, I think I would let me switch the selection mode and drop this down. Oh, I forgot, I gotta select it, then go back to the pencil. I think this would sound a lot better. I think this note that I just changed it to would sound better for the beat. Let me just test it by hitting play. Yeah, a little bit better, but I don't think this thing's gonna win any awards anytime soon. So let me go ahead and hit stop. If I wanted to add effects to this beat, what I can do is use down here this FX mixer. Okay, so what I'm going to do right off the bat is add an FX channel down here. Okay, you can see it's channel 1, and over here on the side in the effects chain I'm going to add an effect. So I'm going to click add effect, And on this harpsichord I have a whole bunch of different effects I can add. Let's just go with a simple delay, which is like an echo effect, and hit OK. And another thing I'm going to want to do is on the Beat Bassline editor is click on harpsichord itself. So you have this little window here, and drag the FX up to 1 here. So it's using this FX channel. And when I hit play now, it should have a weird an echo effect, which sounds like it does. It sounds so weird. Now, what I can do is hit controls on the effects window over here, and I can change the amount of echoes. Alright, this sounds kind of cool. I can lower the amount. A lot of it is just playing around with the different buttons. But between the buttons right here on the delay section itself and the delay controls, you have control over the amount of echo. Okay, this is just one example of an effect you can add. And I can turn off the effect itself by just so I turned that effect off just because it didn't go with it so well. And I just wanted to show you how you can add different effects. We've went over some of the basics of LMMS, and I just wanted to show you how you could add, if you have an actual MIDI instrument, how you can incorporate that into your music making. So once you have it all plugged in, if you have a driver, install that. But you're going to want to make sure you have all that taken care of before you actually start up LMMS. So I've already done that. I have the instrument all plugged in. And what I want to do to add that, to be able to play that instrument, in my case it's a MIDI keyboard. What I'm going to do is, let me get rid of this harpsichord track here. And I'm going to add in a piano track. Alright, just like we did before, drag it in. But this time I'm going to click on the piano itself, and you see right here there's a little MIDI button. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click Enable MIDI Input, and then click on the little keyboard here, and click on, this is the name of the controller that I have, the Arturia Mini Lab. And click on that, and let me just test it out. Yep. So that's me playing the MIDI controller, which is using the virtual instrument here. So if I want to record with this piano, what I can do is right click on the track here and click Open in Piano Roll, and what I can do is click record. You can hear there's a metronome. Then I can just start playing. Hit stop, and since I waited a couple seconds, it's actually in the 3rd and 4th section, so I can move that. Let me just find the notes. Here's the notes that I just made, and it quantizes and cleans them up, which is great. So what I'm going to do is click on the selection tool and drag this to the beginning. Oh, forgot. Just like before, you got to select it and then click on the pencil and then drag it over. Okay, and now when I hit play, you can hear the notes that I just played. And when I close this and hit play on the beat sequence, you can hear the entire thing. So that's pretty much LMMS in a nutshell. I really like this program. I love it, and I have a lot of fun using it, and I hope you do too, and I hope this is helpful for you. And so if you enjoyed this video, I hope you subscribe for future ones, and have a wonderful day.